everybody. I'm Tom Vasel.
Hey, it's me, Rahdo. Hello.
And as I always say now at the beginning of all of our live streams, if you sense that me or Rahdo is louder than the others, if you could let me know sooner rather than later, and we'll try to fix that so that we can be the same level, so that one of us doesn't talk over the other, because neither of us would ever talk over
What are you
another
talking about?
person.
Shut your mouth.
Well, that's
Actually, yeah, that is pretty cool that you're doing that now. I noticed. It's good because I don't know if people know. If you don't have time to actually catch these live on YouTube, you can always catch them after the fact on my podcast stream, podcast.rahdo.com. I take every episode, turn them into audio only, and up until recently, I had to levelate every single one of them because Tom was always way up here and I was way down here. I think he was using that as a psychological warfare trick or something like winning every argument.
I think that's a lie. But anyhow, so all right, let's see. So a lot of things are happening rapidly, right? We just found out in the past 3 days, both Gen Con and Essen have been canceled. So the Spiel des Jahres nominees have been announced, and we don't know what's on the table in front of Rahdo.
Well, that's the most important thing. Forget about that other news. This is coming to Kickstarter in the first week of June. It is Merchants of the Dark Road from designer Brian, I think, Shure. He did Coldwater Crown, I think is his biggest game so far.
Oh, this is from Bellwether then?
No, it's from Elf Creek.
Oh, Elf Creek. Oh, Elf Creek. That's Atlantis Rising.
Yes, exactly. This is their next big one. I think they've done another smaller one, but this is a big production, huge game, really deep, lots of stuff going on, lots of custom dice, and yeah, Jen, I really liked it quite a bit.
Well, looking forward to that. Since people are likely going to talk about Rahdo's shirt, what is it? Our comeback will be bigger than our setback. This is a thing that Diamond Distributors or Diamond Distribution / Alliance is running. It's for local comic stores and board game stores. And if they're running a big auction and if you support it, it helps different charities. And one of those charities is the Jack Vasel Memorial Fund.
Exactly.
So that's exciting.
Seemed like a place to wear this shirt. Although, Tom, where's yours? Do you not support the Jack Vasel Memorial Fund, Tom?
Hang on here. So if we're going to... All right, hang on. There we go. It's in
looking good.
I'm wearing it, so I have it. I don't wear T-shirts very often. I mean, I wear T-shirts underneath my dress shirts. I don't know. I'm just not a T-shirt guy anymore.
Yeah. Yes. But anyway, go to backthecomeback.com to learn more. Unfortunately, my shirt came a week late. I guess last week was the time everybody was supposed to be hashtagging it up.
That's okay. Even saw, you wanted to make a splash.
Yes. Yeah. So there we go. I mean, well, this is the place to do it, obviously.
All right, well, let's just jump right into it. Today we got a pretty big mechanism that we're looking at, and that is betting and bluffing.
Indeed.
So betting and bluffing here, this is almost a very too wide of a category, actually.
My first thought when I saw this is, shouldn't these be two separate categories? Can you not bluff without betting?
No, I don't think they're just saying bluffing. I think it's a bet / bluff. It's not an auction.
Oh, okay. Oh, you know why? Because you're right. Bluffing will be coming up later. Or no, bluffing is a category, not a mechanism, apparently. I just noticed.
So essentially, you can bet on something to win.
Yeah. Or
bluff that you control something. So there's a lot of racing games where I don't know who's controlling what.
Right.
In them. And so there's a little bit of that in this, I suppose. So, for example, the number one game here that's a number of rankings, Camel Up. In Camel Up, you can bet on the camels to win. And one of the camels that you can bet on to win, you put a card face down, and no one knows which one you bet on to win. So I guess that's the bluffing aspect of it.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, this is certainly something that I have less experience with, this particular version, because you don't tend to see these two terribly much in two-player games, obviously. The
Actually,
more players,
very curious. I was going to look
fun.
And see how many were two players. So Tichu is not. And that game you're just betting.
Welcome to the Dungeon is an excellent game that does work pretty well with two. Definitely better with more, but Jen and I have actually enjoyed it, riding a ferry from Malta to Gozo. Not that that's of any particular import. And
You
I
know
think that's
what?
probably the only one on this first page that I've. No, Celestia wasn't bad either. Although again, you play that and you think we should really have
I
a
can't
third.
imagine. I've never played Celestia with 2. I'm trying to remember if I
Exactly.
played Welcome to the Dungeon with 2. I know I've played it with 3 quite a bit. Or the sequel, Welcome Back to the Dungeon.
Yeah.
What about Backgammon?
You
Why
know
does
what?
Backgammon keep showing up on any of these lists?
Because backgammon is everything. Apparently, backgammon is everything. If you ever find yourself in Greece, backgammon is effectively a national obsession. And I personally believe it's because it's so ingrained in the culture there. It's one of the reasons that Greece is really one of the hotbeds of board gaming, or like board game cafes and whatnot in Europe. I was really surprised when I went there many, many years ago, just how insanely zeitgeist pop culture aware Greece is about modern designer board games. I think it's because everybody grows up playing backgammon. It's an obsession. As an aside.
Colossal
I've never
Arena. Have
played
you ever
it,
played that one?
No, is that the Reiner Knizia?
Sure. It was originally called
betting
Titan
on-
the Arena,
Yeah,
and then Fantasy
Again-
Flight remade it.
yeah.
It
I
may
played
be
both.
a minimum of 3 players, though. I'm trying to remember.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, that's the case with just most of these. I mean, you just lose. All the action goes away if there's not at least a third player watching 2 people going crazy with betting and bluffing. And it can work, but this is definitely a mechanism that falls short without a group and that kind of communal atmosphere, I think.
I think you could play Downforce with 2. Now I'm struggling to remember. I wonder if there's alternate rules. We'd have to look at that. I'm going to look and find something. Pass the Pigs definitely works with 2.
Okay.
You
Downforce
just-
supports 2, it says. But does it
All right.
work well with 2 is a different question.
I guess it could. You would each control 3 racing cars. That's an interesting thing to try, I suppose. Western Legends, that works with 2. Since you go around and do
Yeah,
whatever
sure.
you want. I don't know that I'd want to play that with 2 because it would feel very open. Like you'd walk
Yeah.
around and, oh, is the other person going to come after me? No, then I guess I'll do whatever I want.
Exactly, yeah. There's only so much that sheriff can do by himself. It's a big old map.
Does Haggis work with 2? I know it works with 3. I don't remember if it works with 2. Haggis is a little like Tichu.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to... for
I
those of you who are
defer
not...
to you. This is definitely more your domain than mine. Although, actually, Haggis is 2 or 3 only. And it's best with 2, apparently.
I don't know that I played it with 2. I know I played it with 3 multiple times, and I liked
Yeah.
it with that. So, all right. Well, there's Cloud 9. That's what Celestia is based on. More Camel
Yeah.
Up, Long Shot, Bingo, Wits and Wagers, of course. Terra, you could play Terra with 2, because with Terra you are. I don't know if you played Terra Fauna or any of these games.
No.
They're like a trivia game, and you have to guess where in the world it is. So you could play that
okay.
with 2 people. Because you get points for being correct or close to correct. So if, let's say you and I are playing, and it says, where are the Great Pyramids? And you put on Egypt, and I'm like, wow, he's probably right. It's
Yeah.
not that obvious. They do.
So it's a
more
wits and
weird
wagery
things.
type thing. You can
Yes.
bet on your assumed knowledge of somebody else. Okay.
Wavelength is a great party game. I guess you're guessing in that. Oh, that's right. In this game, you bet if the other team was correct or not, or if they were how close they were to the answer. Horse Fever, that might work for 2. I'm trying to think. It's a good horse racing game. There's actually the new Unicorn Fever coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to help her out.
I know, it's dude. I
they're
have
gonna-
plenty of games to play. I don't need more. If there's an entire group of games that I can just skip, that's doing me a favor, quite frankly.
Timeline. Okay, Timeline definitely works for 2 players. That I
Timeline is
know.
actually, yeah, I forget which one. We did play one of them once at somebody's house, and I thought, this is really sharp. If I had kids, I would get every copy of this in existence. Or every variant of it, I should say. Really neat little game.
Alrighty, well, okay, so this is just not your category, but that's
No.
fine. Betting and bluffing. That gives us more time for top 5 stuff and questions then.
Let's do it.
right, I forgot a notebook. I'm gonna go get one. Keep talking.
Oh no!
Give
He
us
just
one.
leaves me. Just leaves me hanging here. How's everybody doing?
No,
Let's
they're supposed to
see.
be giving us top 5 topics. I'm still here. I just had a notebook.
Yes, that's true.
Woo.
Everybody could start throwing out the topics. And this is on my channel, which means it's not game related. I mean, unless there's a really good one you want to throw in there, I suppose.
That could be anything. Maybe one day we'll switch these, just. Although I have to say, I think you and I have more fun with the non-gaming ones, but I think that's because we talk about stuff all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Alrighty. I'm gonna look at these. We already did that one, so I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, I'm sure we'd come up with the exact same list because these are perfect.
No, we did the Marvel thing. It was a long time ago. Oh, that's gonna be a hard one to do. I'll put it in there, but I don't know if you and I would even be able to do that one.
All right, that sounds like a challenge.
We're gonna disagree on that one, but I'm gonna put it on the list just so we can talk about it. All right. Alrighty. Here we go. The first one was one that was brought up before, so it's back again. Kitchen appliances. I think you remember hearing that in the past.
Oh, that's because I have one I want to shout about from the rooftops. It's so awesome. Okay. Which you won't abuse, so you'll veto it. And then it'll be all downhill from there.
Then animated Disney, and this would be non-Pixar. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Non-Pixar animated Disney. Hardest bosses in video games, or documentaries.
Wow. I think we've done enough video games, so I'm just going to toss that one aside for now.
Got it?
Yeah, so documentaries, kitchen appliances, and what was the other one?
Non-Pixar animated Disney.
Non-Pixar animated films. Oh, I do love that. Oh, I love that so much. I think, yeah, that one speaks to me the most.
All right, I'm going to pull up a list.
I very much want to talk about that.
I'm going to pull up a list of the Disney animated.
Right, just so we don't accidentally fall down DreamWorks or, sometimes nowadays it's kind of hard to find the line between Pixar and Disney because it's all CGI all the time.
Sure, but there's a list of them here. So once I take away Pixar, so I'm just going to do them in order from 1937. Well,
oh, okay.
Okay, so real quick, we got Snow White, Pinocchio, Fantasia, The Reluctant Dragon.
You're going to read every single one? There's like dozens. All right.
Well, yes, but I'm fast. Dumbo, Bambi, Saludos Amigos, Victory Through Air Power, The Three Caballeros, Make Mine Music, Song of the South, Fun and Fancy Free, Melody Time, So Dear to My Heart, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, Lady and the Tramp, Sleeping Beauty, 101 Dalmatians, Sword in the Stone, Jungle Book, Aristocats, Robin Hood, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, The Rescuers, Fox and Hound, Black Cauldron, Great Mouse Detective, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Oliver and Company, Little Mermaid, apparently DuckTales, the movie Treasure of the Lost Lamp, although I thought that might be straight to video. Oh, this is going to go deep
if you have all the direct-to-DVD ones. Oh, my.
The Rescuers, Down Under, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Nightmare Before Christmas, although I would argue that that's more stop motion than animated.
It is still a form of animation.
The Lion King, a Goofy Movie, Pocahontas. Now I'm skipping the other ones that are 3D. Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Mulan, Tarzan, Fantasia 2000, the Tigger movie, Emperor's New Groove, Atlantis Lost Empire, we're almost done, Return to Neverland, Spirited Away does not count. That was not Disney. That's Disney brought that. That's okay. Treasure Planet, Brother Bear, Home on the Range, I think, was the last one that wasn't 3D, and I'm assuming we're not counting the 3D stuff.
Fair enough. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Then we get into a whole bunch of 3D
and
stuff.
Animated.
And we're also going to ignore all these millions of straight to DVD. We'll assume it had to be in the theater.
Pocahontas 2 and Aladdin 3, Return of Jafar or whatever. Yeah, skipping all those.
All right, I have
Unless you really feel strongly about Return of Jafar.
There is one I feel very strongly about. It's my hands down favorite of all the animated Disney movies.
Okay.
And that is Beauty and the Beast.
Wait. Let's. Oh, Beauty and the Beast. Okay. Yeah, sure, of course. I was gonna say let's do them at the same time because my number one of all is Hunchback of Notre Dame. I feel very strongly about that. And don't you fight me.
Well, I'm not going to fight you on it. I don't feel as strongly about it as you. In fact, the first time I watched it, I didn't like it, but it's grown on me, I think.
Yep. I mean, to me, it is certainly the most mature of all the ones you ever. I mean, it is. There's so much deeper. Symbology and layered stuff in there. And the thing that I love most about Hunchback of Notre Dame, it's a tiny little throwaway moment that I think most people completely ignore, just wash it away as a joke. During the big musical number, the BR guest of that particular film, where he's having a party with all his gargoyle friends and all of that. And at the end of the moment, a big crescendo, and then Frollo bursts in, and then we cut to see that it's all in his head. Everything that he just experienced, he imagined. And that moment, to me, is so powerful because it says so much about his character, his joyful optimism, but, the horrible situation he's in. And, it's just... I mean, I get a little choked up just thinking about it. That summarizes his entire life in a quarter of a second, and to me, it was amazing. But everything about that movie is fantastic. The music, like I said, the really deep, heavy stuff. Kevin Kline is always a win. Demi Moore, hey, why not? But yeah, I love it. But yeah, of course, Lion King. Of course, Lion King.
I didn't say Lion King. What are we going to Lion King for now?
Oh no, that was yours, right? Wasn't that yours?
I said Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast. Okay, yeah. Sure, yes, Beauty and the Beast is wonderful. Same, let's just give it to those two directors, because whenever they got together, they produced magic. Because I believe it was the same director team on Beauty and the Beast and Hunchback. Or am I wrong about that?
I don't know at this point. I don't.
Okay.
I don't know.
Beauty and the Beast, and as a side, how do you feel about Beauty and the Beast live-action remake?
I really liked it. I thought that
Whoa. Okay.
I thought that Emma Watson did a really good job.
Yes.
I will say that they could have cut all the new songs.
Yes.
Because they weren't memorable or anything. But other than that, it was almost a spot for spot copy of it, and I really liked.
It's like 40 minutes longer somehow.
Well, that didn't bother me because again, it's one of my favorite movies, and I thought she was picture perfect who I imagined Belle to be. I thought Josh Gad did a really good job.
Sure.
I don't know. I liked it, but I liked all the live action stuff with the small exception. I'm not real keen on the new Lion King.
Yeah.
Although we had a long argument here in the studio as to whether that was live action or not, since it was still animated.
Yes.
So it's kind of a weird thing, but Lion King still is one of my favorite songs, even though it's not a good song. It's like the villain song, the Be Prepared, and the new Be Prepared. The new Scar just wasn't. Jeremy Irons was Scar, man.
Yeah, I know.
And it was really hard to.
The actor's name. I mean, he's a great actor, but I mean, God, what a shadow to be under. And they went and got James Earl Jones back. Jeremy Irons is still out there. He would have shown up for a day of recordings to do new takes. Although, why even get James Earl Jones back if just use his original? In fact, use all the original. Although,
I thought that was interesting. Like why they couldn't, since they were doing it almost line for line. I mean, they changed a few things. Why not just redo the animation? Yeah. But anyway, I don't know. I've liked most of the live action remakes. As I kind of went into all of them thinking they'd be poor. I think The Jungle Book is my favorite of the remakes.
The one that kicked it off, and I think that The Jungle Book strays furthest from the subject matter.
I'm sorry, I don't mean The Jungle Book. Maybe it's Mowgli, the one with Bill Murray as the bear.
Yeah.
They did it twice. They did The Jungle Book.
They did the original, animated in the 50s, I guess, or maybe the 60s.
No. There was 2 live actions of the Jungle Book.
Oh yes, well there's the Disney one directed by Jon Favreau, and then I think the other one was a direct-to-Netflix directed by Gollum, Andy Serkis.
Well, one of them I like better than the other, but I don't remember.
One of them is a remaking of the Disney film. One of them hews much closer to the original, was it Rudyard Kipling novels, I guess. And I haven't seen that one yet, but it is on my list of things to see.
I like them both.
So many.
And I like Rudyard Kipling a lot, even though he tends to be, sometimes his books don't always have the happiest endings, but at least the Jungle Book did. All right, we're getting off track here.
Yes. None of these are animated in traditional hand. Right, so anyway, yeah. Obviously, Beauty and the Beast. And if you had, I would have. You're giving
one I feel strongly about.
Yeah.
And that it's actually one of the few Disney animated that has almost no music in it, but it is hands down not only one of the funniest animated movies I've ever seen, but one of the funniest movies I've ever seen, and that's The Emperor's New Groove.
That is an excellent movie.
That one
is really good. Gronk, I believe.
Gronk is a standout character. It has a scary bad guy, but at the same time, she's hilarious. She's like the only bad guy I can think of that made me laugh as much as her would be Hades from Hercules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, James Woods. Yeah.
That whole why do we even have this lever? It was just such a good, and the comedy was just on point.
You know what? Let's table that one for now. But I could definitely.
All right.
Because we're stuck to 5, and that one is really good. I really do love it. It's such an insane explosion of color. It was like one of their last. Hey, look, it kind of harkens back to their 50s, 60s stuff. It played a lot, but it wasn't trying to be hyper real. And you're right, it's just laugh out loud funny. The last great thing David Spade has done as well, as an aside. Yeah, but
Joe Dirt, but yes.
Yes. We can't avoid it forever. We do have to talk about Lion King.
Lion King is a classic.
Showdown if it doesn't go on the list.
Well, that's the problem though. There's so many classic
Academy
ones.
Awards. It's.
Well, yeah.
Winner just got nominated. I think it just got nominated.
Doesn't matter if it got win or nominated. I'm not putting that on for that reason. It's kind of weird because if I'm classifying the movies according to how much I enjoy them or according to how much I like the music. If it's music, Lion King's top 2, right? Because the Lion King music is just amazing. And the other one would have to
be Little Mermaid, right? Come on, kiss the girl.
Darling,
it's better down where it's wetter. Take it from me. Up on the shore they slave all day. Anyway, I could do the whole thing.
Here's my problem with Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I like the message of Little Mermaid.
It is true. Yes.
Little Mermaid says, "Don't listen to Dad. He don't know nothing. Yep. Go meet some stranger."
Yep.
And I've never been a fan of that movie for that reason. Yes, I do like the music of it.
Yeah.
And of course I like the music of Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see. I imagine a live action, or no, I think there is a live action Little Mermaid coming, right? So it'll definitely see.
There is. I think it got delayed along with everything else. That one. Yeah, I remember there was a lot of talk about it when they announced it. The Mulan is coming too, although that one is not a musical for sure.
No, and I gotta say, of all of them, from the trailers, that one looks spectacular. That one looks so good from the trailers, I was tempted to go see it in the theaters. And I never see anything in the theaters.
My kids were not thrilled about that one because they wanted to. My kids were not excited about that one because they liked the dragon and they didn't see the dragon in the trailer.
Yeah. Yep. That's true. It'd be hard to say goodbye to Mushu. Speaking of which, Mulan is probably going to make my list of recommendations. Because, again, I like the central messaging. I like everything about that movie. I love the music, although I think it one doesn't, maybe the music isn't quite as memorable there. But I still really love, I'll Make a Man Out of You. The problem with the
music in that one is, I'll Make a Man Out of You is I remember that song, and I cannot remember any other song from it. I'm sure there's something.
Yep.
I don't know that I'm going to agree on Mulan. I already gave you a Hunchback.
I'll write it here. If you're going to give me one, that's the one I need. I needed the Hunchback.
So let's go back in time and take a look at the older ones.
Yeah, let's not be all cult of the new, shall we? Let's.
Of the older ones, I'm a big fan of. Well, it's not that old. I guess it's from 1970. The Aristocats. I've always been a fan of the jazz in that. I like that jazz.
Yeah.
I also
Doesn't the Aristocats have a lot of really borderline Isn't that the one with the Siamese cats? Or no, that's Dalmatians, isn't it?
No, you're thinking Lady and the Tramp.
Oh, I'm thinking of Lady and the Tramp. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
they're certain
I like Lady and the
cultural and
Tramp
racial
fine, but
stereotypes.
some of these movies, like Lady and the Tramp and Fox and the Hound, they're good, but they could have also been like an animated short and not a full
Yeah,
movie.
yep, that's a
Um,
good point.
Jungle Book's also really good. I mean,
I was gonna say my wife would kick me out of the house if I didn't at least make an impassioned speech on behalf of the original Jungle Book. I think I even heard her 3 rooms away. I mean, her Jungle Book sense is tingling. She loves that. Although for her, it was because her father took it to her on her birthday when she was a little girl, and she has such incredibly fond memories of that moment. It's like a real formative moment for her. But the music in that one, I mean, Baloo, Bare Necessities, and I Want to Be Like You, and I mean, all the characters are fantastic. Honestly, putting aside Jen's love of it, if you want to talk about that period of Disney, I would have to give that one tops for their whole.
you know
Okay,
what?
we're done with the super classics, and we haven't quite gotten to Little Mermaid and Mouse Detective for the modern stuff. I think that's their finest work. It's
I'm
just,
with you. It's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Disney's just been nailing it for years anyway. So any of
Yep.
these we pick. What's your thoughts on Fantasia?
I liked it. But I think it was a great, bold, experimental thing. If you brought any of these movies and you say, hey, let's sit down and watch them, I'll be honest, it wouldn't be one I'd want to watch. I appreciate it intellectually, but it doesn't really speak to me. I'm shallow.
No. That's fine. As a kid, I didn't like it because I was like, "Where's the words?"
Yeah.
And also, the one sequence scared me as a kid. I remember that distinctly, being afraid of the Hall of the Mountain King
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
sequence. It was just scary as all get out.
Yep.
Man, these are tough. Again, that the period of the '90s, they were just on point. I think
Oh yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
was the
I
Disney.
mean, is there any reason to debate Aladdin?
The fact that we have 5. That's why. Oh yeah, the Aladdin live action I like too, and that one I have to say I went into that one prepared to hate it
Yes.
because I liked Robin Williams that much, and I couldn't imagine the first trailer
Yeah.
with Will Smith. I was like,
Yeah.
this does not look good. But I
Yeah.
came out of that movie enjoying it and feeling like, even though it was very similar to the first movie, I feel like you can enjoy both. Like you can like Robin
Yes.
Williams' Genie and Will Smith's Genie.
I agree, and I loved more than anything else about the live action remake that they made Jafar a more well-rounded character. I mean, sure, there's nothing wrong with just, oh, I'm evil because I'm evil. But, the fact that they drew parallels between Jafar and Aladdin himself, how they were both two sides of the same coin, there were like some really cool things that really surprised me.
They
And,
also
I
fleshed
loved
out
the
Jasmine's
movie so
character
much.
a bit too.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
She
definitely.
wasn't just so helpless and waiting for Aladdin to come around.
Yeah, she was more proactive, telling her own story. I thought it was fantastic, and the market chase scene, all live action was dazzling to watch. I really was very impressed by it. I know it didn't get as much love, but yeah, I thought it was fantastic.
The one thing I found fascinating, and you should look this up on the internet if you ever get a chance, is when they did I was watching Cinderella. My kids watched Cinderella the other day for whatever reason.
Okay.
It was an old movie, right? But they were enjoying it, and I thought, I'll watch this, and it holds up pretty well. But I was looking up online, and many of the sequences that they do in Disney are based on live actors. So you
Yes.
can look up, and I
Yeah.
saw like the Aladdin
Rotoscoping. Yes.
and the guy running around and doing all the acrobats, and then they did that on him, and it's really a fascinating thing to watch because
Yeah.
you watch him do that, and you're like, wow, the animators did that, and some people say that's cheating for animating, but at the same time, it worked really well,
Yeah.
like really
Yeah.
well. So, well, we have 5 then, if that's that.
Do we?
Because
Okay, I was really surprised. There was one reason to do that whole list, and I don't know if I agree with it, but if you agree, it has to be on the list. Is Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
I don't.
I'm happy leaving it off the list because I think that would only get in on a technicality, but it is amazing.
It's amazing in many ways. I have some problems with it. I feel like it's not a kids movie for sure.
Right. Yeah.
and it caters to them, and I don't know. I'm just not sold on the whole Jessica Rabbit thing.
I'm happy leaving it off.
But
Just
you're
for
right.
15.
It is amazing, and the fact that they put Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny in the same
Yeah.
sequence is, as a kid, when I first, well, I guess it was I in college. I don't remember, but either way, when did it come out?
No, you were a kid because I was in high school. I mean,
You're
it's
right.
like 84, I think.
I was
Something like
12.
that.
It's 88.
86? 88, okay.
But I remember when I first heard about it, I was like, they're in the same movie? Bugs
Yeah.
Bunny and Mickey Mouse? What? You know. And if it be that way, if we're going to do animated non-Disney movies, I would talk about Space Jam and
Sure.
such. But anyway.
Yeah.
Well, here's what we have. We have Beauty and the
Wait,
Beast,
what do we have?
Hunchback, Emperor's New Groove, Jungle Book, and Aladdin. Unless you want to take one of those out and put Lion King in. But see, that's problematic.
Oh!
Because what would you take out?
If I had, I would rather watch Emperor's New Groove than Lion King right now. If
All
I
right,
had to.
we're done then. Easy enough.
All right. That's
why-
insane.
Okay, don't yell at us later.
The internet is burning right now, I am sure.
We didn't say anything bad about any of these movies. They're all great. They're all winners. Okay, let's go to questions. All right, folks. Well, if you have questions, now's your chance to ask them. And we have 29 minutes, so we'll get at least one in.
I imagine it's going to be, why are we dead inside for the choices we just made?
Now, the thing about Disney is that the thing I find fascinating about Disney is how much people like Disney. I've always been fascinated by that. Like, there are people come to me and they'll say, oh, yeah, we go to Disney World 6 times a year. And I'm thinking, what? I mean, it's a cool place to go, but huh? And, you know, my kids will watch lots and lots of cartoons. But if it's Disney, some adults will, like, perk up their ears and watch it. And I'm thinking, oh, you know, I don't know how that makes it, but I guess there's just some timelessness to them.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's ingrained in not all of us, but most of us since our. I mean, we all had Disney experiences as a kid, and so we all have that huge nostalgia factor. It's programmed into us, at least Western culture, I suppose.
All right. Well, we'll answer this question. I'll put some questions on here. Monica says, which anime have you watched?
You know, for a very brief second, I got into cinematic anime. It was back when I first went to college, and there was an art house movie theater, near University of Washington. It was called the Neptune, and I didn't know anything about anime other than Speed Racer and Star Blazers. That was the sum total of my experience. I love them both, but I'd never gotten into anything else. Go! He's a demon on wheels. He's gonna. All right, but the first full anime I saw set such a high watermark, it was hard to follow, and that was Akira, of course, and I was not prepared for that at all. Just the concept of an animated feature film that was so grim and so electric and so mature and and just so kinetic blew me away. And then the second one, I was like, I'm going to watch every anime film from now on forever. And then the second one I saw was Laputa Castle in the Sky, which I still maintain is Studio Ghibli's greatest work. It is so amazing. I've seen them all, and maybe it's just nostalgia, but I so love that. And then the third one I went to see.
Which one is that one called?
Laputa,
Castle in the
Castle
Sky?
in the Sky.
Yeah, okay.
And the third one I went and saw is totally unmemorable, just some generic sci-fi thing. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is terrible. And then the fourth one I saw was terrible. And then I realized, oh yeah, those were outliers. That is not what you normally get. And I know people love it to pieces. That kind of there's just like a different rhythm. And the animation style, everything about them is very impressive. But I had a brief flirtation, and then I pulled out. And other than just Kiki's Delivery Service and all the other Studio Ghibli films, that's pretty much it. I forget the name of it, but I did see the post-nuclear bomb in Nagasaki. I forget the Fireflies, something like that.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Someone mentioned it here.
Which was harrowing and very impressive too. And I know they do really amazing stuff. If there's one I want to see, it's the one about an old man on in a hospital bed that somehow the hospital bed gets co-opted into some kind of mech or something like that, and rampages around the city. Something, I forget the name of it, or I forget
Grave
anything
of the
about it. I thought
Fireflies.
that's so weird. Oh,
Yeah.
and one other, my last anime is I did in fact love to pieces Cowboy Bebop. I mean, everything about that show was fantastic.
Yeah. So
And yeah,
I'm in agreement with Studio Ghibli. I've not seen all of them, but all the ones I've seen, I really like. And even though Princess
Mononoke.
Mononoke is really good, Spirited Away is still my favorite because it is to me it's so much. I like it so much better than Alice in Wonderland, which is clearly kind of like in that same genre. I just like the mix. I like the music. I like the animation, but I haven't liked all of them as much.
Yeah.
But there's just different ones that I enjoy. I find it fascinating that my kids really like anime, and I've never pushed it on them.
Yeah.
But it's because there's so much. It's more part of American culture now, where it's not thought of as a weird thing to do, and so they tend. My one daughter loves it. She watches that One Piece. I hate it, but it's like on, and they love not Naruto, right? They love.
Oh right, yeah, with the.
They love him.
No, the backwards run thing. Yeah.
The backwards run thing. They love him. And if I'm ever in an entertaining mood, I'll wait till they're in the middle of an episode. I'll sit down and I'll start asking questions, and I just get all these. Well, obviously, Dad, this is because this, and this happened. I'm like, well, that guy just made a stupid decision. Well, you don't understand. That's actually a clone of this and that. I'm like, okay, and then I think, is this how I sound when I talk about Marvel comics?
Yes, yes, it is.
For Cowboy Bebop, a friend of mine really pushed this on me a long time ago, and I watched it, and I don't know how much I love it. I think it's fine, but I'll tell you this, possibly the best anime soundtrack.
Yeah.
Just the whole soundtrack, but you have to like that kind of music. It's very jazzy, but I think the tank is the name of the soundtrack. Maybe I really like it, and I really like the one song "Bad Dog No Biscuit," which we used actually as the intro to the Dice Hour for like episodes 4, 6, back when we were not following any kind of copyright laws.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, that was back when we were just starting, right? You're just like, find a piece of music and play it.
Yep.
All right, now we're not having anyone ask questions because everyone is talking about anime.
Their favorite anime.
Right.
Oh,
so,
does Inspector Gadget count?
As anime?
It's Asian. It's DIC. I think. I know it doesn't, but it just another one that popped into my head.
All right, I'm not kidding. Definitely, we are not getting any questions. Everyone's talking about anime. All right. Well, that's one time where the one question took over all the questions that were asked.
Yep.
I have to say I'm still not a huge fan. There's some things about anime which are cultural, which just bug me. It bugs me when they change animation styles. So like you have this very realistic looking animation, and then the person will cry or throw a fit, and they change into a little chibi person, and they're like, ah! And my kids are like, that's just how it is. And I'm like, well, okay, that's. I
wonder what the cultural elements of our more Western animation grates on, Japanese viewers. I wonder if there's an equivalent.
That is interesting. That is interesting. I would like to.
Yeah, because we can't identify any just blatantly cultural tropes because they're just ingrained in us. But I wonder.
Ooh, we got a good question here. What's your favorite single worker placement spot in any game? Like a specific spot to place a worker.
Okay.
That's a good question.
That's a fun question. Jeez.
I'm going to list a few off that I know I like. Like in Feast for Odin, there's one that lets you upgrade multiple tiles multiple times. I really like that specific spot.
Okay.
In Caverna or Agricola, I like where you can both add a field and plant. For some reason, that combo always makes me happy. And
sure.
The one that gives me more workers always makes me happy. Go here and get another worker. Doesn't matter what game that's in.
Yeah. we call in Agricola we call it the midwife, which I don't understand why it isn't given a name, because thematically that makes sense. It's a midwife. Oh, we have gotten the midwife's services, so our child, it's a bit dark, our child will actually live. And
yeah, that is dark. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's called Family Growth in Caverna. Now I'm going to stick with off the top of my head the Feast for Oda because you can upgrade these tiles that you place in your polyomino grid, and you can only put blue tiles next to each other. So the more tiles you have that are blue are better. And there's the one space that lets you upgrade multiple tiles multiple times. It costs a lot of workers, but it really can help you fill that grid in.
I think my inclination is to go with Lorenzo El Magnifico. The spaces that when you put a worker there, it activates all your cards. So it's really all about the cards, but it's, hey, I built this engine, I got all these cards, are going to work well together, and go.
That's a good. I'm thinking about switching to that one because I do like, and there's two different ones, right? There's two different lines of cards.
Because there's 2 different rows of things you've built up.
It's super satisfying to do it.
Yeah.
Lorenzo also does it because the number on the die tells you how well all the things will run. Of course, if you build one, and then let's say your highest thing's a 5, and then the 5 die comes out, and you're like, yes, this will happen.
I mean, I put my die on that, and I feel like I'm behind the wheel of the car, turning the key to start the ignition, and there they go. So that's the first one that pops into my head.
There's a lot of things, and I think that's why I like worker placement games so much, because some of the spaces you go on are just so satisfying to see how they work out. I like that a lot.
The reason worker placement. Oh, I got one other one. I love Lords of Waterdeep. Is it the not the pub? It's the docks. That notion that, okay, well, I'll go here, and now everybody's done, and I can go wherever I want, provided it's still available. So you
provided
get the 1,
it's still
2.
available. Yeah, that's actually been done in a few games, and every time that's there, it's such a tempting thing to do. You go get. Sometimes it's a small reward, and you just get to go after everybody else. I like that concept.
Yeah, but it's central. I mean, the reason I believe worker placement is so monstrously popular, if not the most popular Euro-style mechanism, one of, is because usually in a Euro, there is no sense of who am I? Because you're always some abstracted, disembodied administrator moving things around. But in a worker placement game, okay, maybe I don't know who I am, but I know who this is. And this is, and it gives you a real concrete person and an idea. And, that's something that Concordia or, other really amazing Euros, it's just like, oh no, I'm just a hand of cards, or I'm just a collection of resources. I do think worker placement is very strong because it helps you project yourself into the world, because there's real people in here that are doing things, as opposed to everything just being economic exchanges.
Well, it took us 43 minutes to get to it, but we've been asked, what do we think about the Spiel des Jahres nominees?
Oh, geez, yeah. Yeah, we probably should. That's
so just as a run through, there's 3. I think you and I will both agree that the Kenner Spiel is pretty cool. They always have really good games. Let me quick pull up the listing of these so I don't get any of the names wrong. But for the Kenner Spiel, it's Cartographers, which I know you've played.
Yes.
And The Crew and King's Dilemma. All very interesting games. I feel like King's Dilemma, the Spiel des Jahres committee is like, that's a really cool idea. This legacy-style game, you're not going to win. All right, so I really do. I feel it's between The Crew and Cartographers, and I would be really surprised if The Crew does not win, if only based on massive praise for it.
Honestly, the only surprising thing about The Crew this year in its in anything to do is that it made Kenner instead of regular Spiel.
I don't think trick-taking game is for modern younger people that are under 30
because they're
are
so
as
weird.
Common. Yeah.
Yeah. I that's what I was going to say myself. My thought was, of course it's going to get nominated. Of course it's going to get the nomination and the win for Spiel. And as soon as I saw Kenner, my first thought was, of course, because I remember the first time I played The Crew was with a group of people who were very knowledgeable and comfortable with trick-taking games. And I felt like a complete idiot that I could not make a smart or informed move because everybody else just intuitively understood what was going on. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll play this. I don't know. Please don't hurt me. So yeah, upon reflection, I think it fits. That's interesting too. King's Dilemma, you're right. That's a legacy. That's 2 legacy games with My City on the Spiel and King's Dilemma on the Kenner.
Yeah, actually, I don't know enough about My City. So the regular Spieljahres, My City, Nova Luna, and Pictures. My City is a polyomino game from Dr. Rainer Knizia, and it
Yes.
is a legacy game, but I don't know how
Hey, by the
legacy
way,
it is.
congratulations, you just threw that polyomino in there smooth as silk.
I'm working on it, man. It's hard.
No, I'm saying, credit where credit is due. I know it's a real hurdle for you, and you got it. You
I
nailed
taught
it,
math
buddy.
for a decade. I said the word polynomial so many times. It's hard to get that out of
now
your
I've
head.
reset you. So
Yeah,
now
you're
broken.
right. But have you played My City?
No, I have not. The closest I've gotten, warning folks, if you do care about the legacy nature, the main video that's available for it is one by Eric Martin that he did a couple of months ago because he has the German version. And he spoils everything. He pretty much just tells you everything.
Sure,
he just said,
but
oh, by the way, in the 5th game, this will turn on. And then at the end of the game, you'll have this thing you can play as well. And he keeps saying, and it doesn't matter because there's no such thing as spoilers. It's just a game. And like, geez, okay.
Sure, but some
really
legacy
surprised
games are
by
more
that video. So just
spoilery than
spoiler warning
others.
on that.
I'm curious, like,
Yeah.
some games just
Yep.
add a few mechanisms and things like that. I'm curious, like, if this is Pandemic, because in Pandemic, I would be really upset if you spoiled some of the stuff for me.
Yeah, I don't think it's not that. The reality is, from having seen his video, I have to admit, it was my #1 most anticipated game of the year back in January when I did my top 25
okay.
most anticipated. So I was super excited about it because I love Legacy and I love Knizia, and I thought this would be really interesting. But then watching Eric's, I got a little bit cooler on it because it feels like, I guess maybe Machi Koro Legacy is the same way. Yeah, it starts out with not really quite a game, and over the course of whatever it is, these 8 or 10 games, we'll turn on all the features that by the end, yeah, this is the actual game we designed. And this was basically a very long tutorial turning on just little features game after game after game. And in
I'm
fact,
not a
as
fan
I
of that,
understand it,
actually.
you can skip the entire campaign. The rules just say, hey, if you just want to cut to the chase, here's how you set the game up. This is what it's like once the campaign is over. Apparently. I haven't seen that, but I kind of got that impression.
That's not a legacy game, then.
Yeah, I know. But apparently, I don't know. Is it a legacy game if you tear up a card that has no function once the game is over? I mean, some people will say, because I dare not tear up any card. But you are only ever going to use it in Chapter 3, and after Chapter 3 is over, it has no function. Tear it up. Rip it up. Have fun. No, I dare not.
I have to say, this is happening to me when I'm currently playing with my kids through Rise of Queensdale. And in Rise of Queensdale, this legacy game, you can skip whole chunks of components.
Yeah.
I just found that, like, they were like, okay, take these cards and take them out of the game. And I was like, but I didn't see what they do. I want to know what these, I mean, the game is still pretty much the same basic game as we've been playing, but it's changed enough now. It's getting pretty interesting. My kids said it's one of their favorite games they've ever played. So.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, so that Nova Luna, I think you've played that one.
I have played it. It's very good. It's perfectly reasonable that it appears on this list. I thought it was too abstract for my taste. If it just getting even the smidgiest smidge of a theme to it, I might have found it a bit more engaging. But it's abstract to the level of just straight up dominoes. But yeah, I thought it was sharp. I ended up playing it like a half a dozen times because it was at one convention I was at, and I got a copy from the library. And as soon as I finished playing with people and I was starting to put it away, somebody else would sit down. Hey, can we play that with you?
Yeah, it's very popular.
Yeah.
Pictures is
Before
the party.
this.
Pictures is the party game of the year. This is where you use rope or cubes or stones or different things to make pictures and have people guess which picture you're making. I found it to be very okay at best. But I also found that I took it to a party with a lot of non-gamers, and it was played the entire time enthusiastically.
Yeah.
But now it's time to make our predictions. So
what about our complaints? What about our snubs and our overlooks?
Before we do the snubs,
shaking our fist at the universes.
Before we do the snubs, here's the recommended list: Color Brain, Draftosaurus, which I'm glad made the list, Fox and the
That's
Forest,
a good one.
Kitchen Rush, which seems too complex, frankly, but all right. Little Town and Spicy. The only snub I could think of that I would have argued about, and I don't know if there's a German version of it, would be Point Salad.
Let's say it at the same time. I bet you I know what it is. You see that list, and the first thing you think of is tiny towns. No? From AEG?
Oh, I was saying Point Salad from AEG, actually.
Oh, Point Salad, of course, yes. Either way, AEG, both of those should have been on this list. And you're right, maybe they didn't make it out in Germany within the time frame or something like that.
Sure, and so with that caveat, if they did make it out there, then I feel like those were very, you're right, I didn't even think of that Tiny Towns, because they put Little Town on here, which is fine, but Tiny Towns is classic.
Little Town is okay, but Tiny Towns is, it's a modern classic. Tiny Towns is a game people will be playing years from now. And yeah, I had assumed 2 weeks ago when somebody asked, I figured, well, okay, it's going to come down to Tiny Towns or The Crew for a spiel, and I was wrong both times, as it happened.
Right, and then in the Kenner spiel, the recommended list was Paladins of the West Kingdom, Res Arcana, and Underwater Cities. 3 amazing games, and 3 games that are much heavier than the ones nominated. Like
Yes, exactly. Especially Underwater Cities. That is a beast of a game. And I say it with love. It's a wonderful game, but geez Louise, that does not exist on the same list as Cartographers.
Right, they're not right. I wouldn't say, you like Cartographers? You know what else you should play? Underwater Cities. Boom. They're very different. And even Paladins of the West Kingdom, even though it's a very straightforward game, if you're going to play it at any kind of level of doing well, there's a lot going on in it. Now, Res Arcana, I won't say it's lighter. I mean, it is lighter than those 2 games. Res Arcana would be the one I would say. I would have put that on the list over. As much as I like King's Dilemma,
yes,
I wish Res Arcana had gotten it.
Yes, I agree 100%. Res Arcana is, honestly, and this is blasphemy for you, but I think it's Tom Lehman's masterpiece. I put it over Race for the Galaxy.
That's fine. I wouldn't fight to the death over that. I think it's really, really good. I think
also would like to see us fight to the death as it happens. And no one would enjoy it more than Tom.
All right. So what's your predictions here? Which ones do you think will win?
Odds-on favorite, The Crew, with Cartographers is a maybe. I agree. And for other, I'll have to go with Nova Luna. It is super sharp, very fun. It's basically patchwork crossed with habitats. That's a very good combination. The tile laying of habitats, the tile drafting of patchwork. It is from Uwe Rosenberg and Korn van Murrel. I'm sorry, Korn, I don't know how to say your name. And I would have I wouldn't do a spit take over that coming at all. Games like Pictures and The King's Dilemma. This is something that bugs me. Probably the thing that bugs me more than anything else is, ostensibly, the point of these awards is to give game recommendations to people. Look, this is going to work great for your family and friends. And anytime they nominate a game that only supports 3 or more, or only supports 2, always strikes me as a miss. Because I think any game with their thing of, look, we're trying to increase the bandwidth of this hobby, they should always be inclusive enough to support 2 to 4, I think. And every time, a Pictures or a King's Dilemma comes out, and that's saying, well, to heck with you, gigantic portion of potential gamers out there, i.e. couples gamers, maybe we're not for you after all. Always drives me nuts. Especially when such amazing things get left on the sideline that work great at all player counts. Wow. If I could change one thing about them, I would insist that these games work with broader player counts across the board, or they don't get nominated.
I guess I don't mind that. I don't mind if they're, particularly if it's a party game. So last year was...
You play a party game, how does that convert you into a potential... How does that make you go out and say... playing a party game doesn't teach you anything that you didn't already know, because you know that charades exists. Oh, it's just a different version of charades.
Sure, but I don't know that the point of these is to point people to other games. It's just to give you the best family game that came out. There's no real clear mission statement, so we'll never know.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
But last year we had just one win. I don't think they would do 2 party games in a row. And Pictures, as much as people like it and stuff, I think it's one people will forget. Just one we'll still be talking about many years from now.
Just
I
one
don't
is
think we
flawless.
will with pictures. In fact, I'll go out on a limb and say we're not going to be talking about any of these 3 nominees in several years. That's just the way it is.
There's no Azul here.
Nova Luna is extremely popular, and so that would be, if the people were voting, I think that'd be the choice. But I'm thinking, for some reason, the Spiel des Jahres nominee really likes Knizia. They almost always nominate one of his games.
How many wins has Knizia actually gotten?
1.
Only 1? Okay,
he got it for Keltis. So that's the thing. I think it's his time again, and it's a year where there's not a clear favorite. So
that makes sense.
There wouldn't be as much backlash. And again, I don't know that the Spiel des Jahres committee is all political and all that stuff, but I'm just going by what they like.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say My City and The Crew, but I wouldn't be surprised if any of the 3 won for Spiel des Jahres. Wow, I would be surprised if Cartographers won. However, at the same time, man, Thunderworks, he'd be over the moon. That'd be so cool for that small little company.
It's a fantastic. It's one of the best roll. I mean, we've had so many roll and writes over the last couple of years, but it stands head and shoulders. I mean, it is at the top of the heap, definitely, for that genre, with good reason. If we go back to gripes, I would say, aside from the AEG, which I didn't even think about point salad, but you're right. Oh my gosh, what an oversight. The other big one for me would be Miyabi from Haba, not getting a nod for the Kennerspiel. When, that's Haba, really getting out of their comfort zone.
What game is this
maybe
again?
it's just Michael Kiesling has won too many awards recently, so he can't have any more. I don't know.
What game's this?
Miyabi. You know how for the last few years, starting with the adventure game from Kramer and Kiesling? Yeah, Adventureland. How Haba, every year they put out 1 or 2 family weight instead of only kid weight games. Miyabi was their new one for last year. It was from Michael Kiesling, and it's one of the best tile laying games ever.
Okay, I have not played that one, unfortunately, so I don't know off the top of my head. So yeah, that's an interesting thing. And again, folks, I want to be really clear here. At least for me, Rahdo can be picky as he wants, but I don't. I think these are talking points, and I think we can talk about them. I'm not saying that. I do realize that the judges here have a different target audience than maybe me, so that's fine.
Sure.
And also, it's from Germany, so there's cultural differences and things there too. Yeah. These might not be my picks, and also they have a really weird time of window. It's like, I don't even know what it is exactly. The games could have been published a week ago. In fact, My City's not even out in English yet, but that doesn't matter because this is a German award. But it's still fun to talk about these.
It's just an opportunity to think about the year. And me complaining about something not being here is just me celebrating a really great game that I think also deserves. So yeah, I don't begrudge them. I mean, no matter what they chose, they will get a fair bit of ire because they didn't choose something else. So there's no winning. Except, I love you, as you said. Well, if you like cartographers, you'll love Underwater Cities. That's a tough one to reconcile. No matter how
that's because they have the 2 levels, right? There's only 2 awards, and over the years, they both have seemingly come down. Although, again, if Underwater Cities is in the recommended list, then they've definitely brought that complexity level up again.
Yep.
So we'll have to wait and see. Just stay tuned. The Dice Tower Awards will be announced. First week of July. Right? Well, the nominees have been announced, but the award hasn't been announced. Yeah. We haven't voted on them yet that I know of. So. All right. I know we haven't because I talked about it today. I look forward to arguing
about that.
Yeah, well, every year I privately pick the ones I think the committee will pick and see if I'm right. This year I have a better chance than normal. Alrighty, well, we're about to shut down here, folks. But before we do, Rahdo, just once again, people want to know what's on the table in front of you.
Oh, this was Merchants of the Dark Road coming to Kickstarter in the first week of June, coming to my channel at the same time. Very sharp. Here's the cool thing about it, Tom. It's a rondel game. But you don't just move 1, 2, or 3. You've got dice on this very cool wagon wheel that tell you how far you can move. And when you land in a spot, you can choose 2 different areas. So it's a rondel that introduces a lot of constraints with randomness, but still at the same time gives you a lot of flexibility and freedom. And it's super thematic, and it's gorgeous with tons of art from, I think it's Andrew Bosley. And Yeah, I like it. From the designer of Cold Water Crown.
Alrighty, folks. Well, I don't think we mentioned this at the beginning, but if you're wondering who I am, I'm Tom Vasel. You can find me more on my channel at the Dice Tower. Rahdo, what's coming up from you that people can look forward to?
Or comeback. Backorcomeback.com. Go and do that.
Alrighty. And oh yeah, don't forget, we just announced an online convention that everyone's going to be invited to. More information. I told Rahdo he has to come and play games with people at some point.
This is what I hear.
Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Rahdo.
We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.